Our last speaker is Professor S.K. Kulkarni. He is a very learned scholar, and I think he may also answer some of the questions raised in the previous sessions. Before Professor Kulkarni starts his talk, I would invite Satish Bihari ji from Mauritius to introduce our learned speaker, Satish Bihari.
Most respected everybody, respected and learned scholars, professors, researchers, and all our Arya Bandhugan, Sadar, Supreme, Namaste. I extend to you all a very warm welcome. I am thankful to Professor Dr. Ravi Prakash ji, and I feel honored and privileged to have the opportunity to introduce to you the next learned speaker, Professor Sadashiv Kulkarni ji. Professor Sadashiv Kulkarni ji is a veteran journalist, writer, and orator, and engaged in research work too. He is very well versed in Sanskrit and Pali. He was editor of Sakal, a leading Marathi daily. He was head of department and professor and of the Department of Journalism, Pune University. He was also editor and consultant, Kesari, Pune. He was editor of Swaraj Weekly in Pune, project director and district journalist training program in Western India, Sakal Papers Trust. He has more than 50 books to his credit and has edited many more. He has written books on several topics and subjects, including the epoch-making events in 1969 to 1970 of space victory. He has delivered lectures on the heritage of Vedas and Agnihotra almost all over India. He has written books on Vedas, Rig Veda Darshan, Yajur Veda Darshan, Upanishad Prabha, Ved Mahima, etc. Today, Professor Kulkarni ji will address the floor on heritage of Vedas, Agnihotra, and its benefit in the present day. I have the immense pleasure to invite Professor Kulkarni ji to present his subject. Professor ji, the floor is up to you. Thank you.
I pay my respects to the great Vedamurti and scholar Dayananda ji. He is known as Maharshi in India because of his work as far as Vedas are concerned. I pay my respects to him as well as respects from my institute in Akkalkot, Maharashtra. I am also grateful to you for allowing me to speak here on my favorite topic. I have been doing Agnihotra for last 50 years and at the moment I am running 86. Let me tell you one thing, that we have to look to the Vedas in a very different way. There have been various ways to interpret Vedas, and Vedas have been interpreted by scholars in different ways. The point is, we have lost that Vidya Vangsha Parampara, or the Guru-disciple tradition. In Guru-disciple tradition, it was a very different type of training and different type of interpretation. Let us begin with the very first mantra from Rigveda, which tells us, Agnimire Purohitam Yajnesya Devam Rutvijam Hotaram Ratna Dhatamam. Agni has been described as Ratna Dhatamam. Ratna is Ramaniyam Dhanam, attractive wealth. This wealth is not just worldly wealth, but something beyond that too. That is spiritual and divine wealth. Agni is interpreted in various ways. Agni is illuminating. Agni is that one which takes you further and further every day. Yashasam Veeravattamam. So Agni has to be looked upon as an instrument given to us by Almighty Father to progress on the worldly platform as well as on the spiritual platform. Ratna Dhatama can be interpreted in various ways. Just now, Abhang was speaking, Pranav was telling us about his research work. And there are many scholars who are doing research on Agnihotra, agriculture, and so on. My point, I want to elaborate. The Vedas were given for the mankind, or it has been described as the working manual of the universe. You can look to the Vedas in various ways. You can interpret the mantras in various ways. And each mantra or each hymn has several meanings, not one meaning. That is how we can understand or try to understand how the Vedas are beneficial to the mankind. It has been said in Rigveda, Vishwam Satyam Krunuhi. And here the word Satya has been interpreted by the great science, the first interpreter in a way, that Satya means Agnihotra Adi Karma Param Kuru. That means you have to take the world to Agnihotra. It is not for just India. It is not just for one or two countries. It is for the whole of the mankind. Vishwam Satyam Krunuhi. Vishwa is everything. And Satyam is, as I told you earlier, Agnihotra Adi Karma Param Kuru. That means you have to take the world to the Agnihotra. The word Satya or Sat has been referred to by Lord Sri Krishna in a different way. He talks about Yajna Dana Tapa Karma as Sat. So all the 5 principles or the basic, say, the basic principles of Vedas as Sat. Today we use the word Sat in a different connotation. Sat is eternal, that which lasts, that which is important, or that is which is for the whole of the world is Sat. And that is why the Bhagavan Sri Krishna refers to it as Sat. And in the same way, it has been referred to in the Vedas too. The second point is that there has been a lot of discussion. I heard yesterday also, I know that there was some discussion on Agnihotra and what should be used in Agnihotra, what should not be used in Agnihotra. Well, all that points are raised now and again. It has been, the question has been put to me for the last 50 years about where is the origin of Agnaye Swaha, Prajapataye Swaha, Suryaye Swaha, Prajapataye Swaha. The mantras are used in Yajurveda are extension of Agnaye Swaha, Suryaye Swaha, Surya Jyoti, Jyoti. Yeah, that is the extension of the mantra Suryaya Swaha. And you cannot say that whatever has been said by the Sutrakaras, whether it is Paraskar Gruhya Sutra, whether it is Ashwalayan Gruhya Sutra, I think there are 17 Gruhya Sutras. And they were given, or these Sutrakaras thought about discussing all these things, Agnihotra, or what we call as Upasana Home, in their sutras, because they wanted to tell people in the simplified form. And that there is no challenging to Agni Swaha or Surya Swaha, whether they are Vedic or not. Because these mantras are used in various ways in Yajurveda itself. And secondly, I will give you one mantra about this. In the very seventh mantra or rucha of Rigveda tells us Upatva Agne Dive Dive. That means it is to be performed every day. We come for fire near you every day. Dive Dive, that is every day. Dosha Vastar, the timing is given, the night or the sunset and the sunrise. The timings are given. Now the question remains about the material used, Vrihi Yavabhyam. That is the best material or the oblation for to be used for Agnihotra. It has been recommended in various places. The point remains whether these mantras, whenever we offer to any deity, the fourth vibhakti has to be used. That is why it is Agneya Swaha. Swaha is not just an exclamation. Swaha means Sushtu Ahuyate Enam Iti. That is, we call him in a right way. That is Swaha. Many dictionaries say that Swaha has no meaning. It has a meaning, deeper meaning. And every mantra or every epithet or every part of the mantra has a deeper meaning. We use the fourth vibhakti, Agneya Swaha, Prajapate Swaha, whenever we have to offer it to any deity, we do it that way. That is the normal practice of the Vedas, Shrutis, Sutrakaras, Brahman Granthas also. The example that was given by Dr. Madan Deshpande comes from Gopata Brahman Grantha. And it has been said that three were performing Agnihotra. One was offering thrice, one was offering only one, and one was offering two. And the conclusion drawn by Gopata Brahmana Grantha is, so the person who was offering two oblations, Arnot sa iterebhyaha prajaya pashubhishchaiva tasmat dvirhotavyam. That means we offer only two oblations. And I told you, as I told you earlier, the extension has been there in the Yajurveda. And my Guru pointed out to me that the Vistar or the extension is a later stage. As we see that Ganga starts from Gangotri, at that point it is a very small stream. And when it reaches to Bay of Bengal, it becomes very large, very large. So in the beginning, the mantras or the whatever is the given was in a nutshell. And it is said in the Upanishads also, Mantreshu karmani kavayaha yani apashyan tani tretayam bahuda santatani. That means they were enlarged or they were extended during Treta Yuga. In the beginning, it was only one fire. Eka eva pura vedaha pranavas sarva vangmayaha eko agni. Agni was also one. Treta Agni is later stage. It is not the earlier stage. There is no opposition to Treta Agni. There is no opposition to Somayaga. But the karmas or the duties or the actions which were recommended by the Vedas earlier were extended later on. That is the thing. That is why you find that you won't find the mantras as Agnihotra should be like this. It has been interpretation of the Vedas that Agnihotra has to be performed as a duty. That is why it is said, Na anahitagnir mriyet. If you do not accept Agnihotra or do not do Agnihotra, you shouldn't die also. And yavat jivam Agnihotram juhuyat. That means still you are living as a soul on this earth. You have to perform Agnihotra. Because Agnihotra is so important. So important. That is why it has been said. So, and we say from various books, because Agnihotra or anything is not given in one chapter, one mantra everywhere. We have to think about Rigveda, Yajurveda, Atharvaveda, and other books, and the last Vedas also. There are many books or many mantras which have been lost during the course of the time. That is why Maybe there was in the beginning, it was given as Agnaye Swaha, Prajapate Swaha. These mantras were there. Otherwise, how could they come in with the Sutrakaras, which are more than 17? I think the number is more than that. And though it is mentioned as Upasana home, what we are doing Agnihotra? Agnihotra is a Upasana. As per the Sanskrit etymology, it is an upasana. We are doing it every morning and every evening. If we are concentrating, we are doing in a way a type of penance also, because we are getting early, we are preparing for Agnihotra, we are bringing all the material, so we are doing tapa also. But it is not mentioned in Agnihotra that it is tapa. It is also Swadhyaya, because study of the self, because of concentration on Agnihotra, total surrender. What you get is, what you really learn is Swadhyaya. Study of the self is done by concentrating on Agnihotra. Though it is not mentioned there, what the seers did afterwards, or those Sutrakaras did afterwards, is they found out from the Vedas what should be done every day. That is why it is mentioned as Upasana home. Upasana home, about the Upasana home, it is said, Upanayanat Prabhrutihi Upasana Homaha. And Upanayan was done, that samskar was done, was there for everyone, for ladies, for boys, caste, creed, color, no bar. That was the earlier stage. And I can give a lot of examples from various Upanishads, but the time is short. The point is that what we do, we have found out, is this type of Agnihotra. And the benefits are tremendous. I have been moving through Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, and Karnataka, and there are several farmers who are using Agnihotra as an adjunct to organic farming, and they are benefiting. There are farmers, small and big, who are using Agnihotra as a method of farming. They perform Agnihotra in the morning, they perform Agnihotra evening in the field itself. Sometimes they do more Havan also. By Trambakam Yajamahe mantra, they offer more oblations too, because they find that they are getting benefits by just offering 2 oblations in the morning and in the evening. There are several farmers. There is one farmer near Belgaum at Sutakatti, about 30 kilometers from Belgaum or 70 kilometers from Kolhapur, which is in South Maharashtra. He has been awarded a prize by Karnataka government and given the epithet about that. It means he is Krushi Pandit. And in international competition also he got the second prize of 2 lakhs of rupees 2 years back. And there are several farmers in Gujarat who are practicing Agnihotra in their fields, in their farms, and getting benefits. And in the Vedas, it is said only in concise form, Krushi Yajnena Kalpatam. That means you can do your farming with the help of, say, Homa. This Homa has been basic. It has been said so in various Puranas also. That means Bhagavad Mahapuran, Vayu Mahapuran, everywhere there is a reference to Agnihotra of this type. And remember that what we have been doing now, as per the religion or as per the Vedic religion, there was Kali Yuga, which lasted for more than 5,000 years. And many things have been lost. One of the things that is lost, that Agnihotra is basically this. Extension can be anything. There could be Somayagas, there could be other yagas, there could be Gavamayan, which lasts for 1 year every day. Somayaga is performed. That can be done. But basically what every individual has to do, because it is said in the Vedas, Vishwam Satyam Krunuhi, Prunavanto Vishwamaryam. Everybody has to be elevated by Agni Upasana, by Agnihotra. You can elevate a person to a high level that is making Arya. Arya is Ru Gatav. That means wherever he is, we have to elevate him spiritually. We have to see that he is prosperous. And remember, last point that I want to make or convey is the Vedas do not talk only of material progress. They talk about Amrutatvam, that is union with God, understanding what the self is, or understanding or reaching ultimate reality. That is the goal of the Vedas. Because this was the question put by Maitreyi to Yajnavalkya Maharshi. Maitreyi asked him, if I get your wealth, whether I will reach Amrutatva, whether I will reach ultimate reality. And then Yajnavalkya told him, if I give you the wealth of the total world to you, you are not going to achieve Amrutatva. So Amrutatva is the goal of the Vedas. It is not just material prosperity. It is true that when you perform yajna, you get mental peace. When you perform yajna, your health is better. When you perform yajna, you can do agriculture. When you perform yajna, water can be purified. Many things are there because Pranav, I think, has taken some, he has submitted a paper to the central government and they have got the patent of adding Bhasma to water, purifies it. Pranav will tell you something about that. What has happened with the Vedas is their meanings have been not correctly given. I will give you only one example, Trayusham Jamadagni. That means people interpret that Jamadagni has 3 lives, which is not correct. Trayusham Jamadagni means it continuously burning fire or continuously accepting oblations and burning. That is Jamadagni. And it has 3 lives, means it is effective for worldly things, it is effective as far as space is concerned, and it is effective as far as heaven is concerned. You have to go into the deeper meanings of the Vedas. If you don't, I will quote another mantra because people do not understand on prima facie what is the deeper meaning. It is about Ghrutasya nama guhyam yadasti juva devanam amrutasya nabhihi. This is said about go Ghruta or the clarified butter of cow. It says that Ghrutasya nama guhyam. If you take it on the surface of it or the prima facie, it would mean that the name of cow ghee or clarified butter is mystic, which is not so. It's if you use it properly in the yajna, then it will have tremendous favorable effects. Anakalaniya, that is good, that you will not understand unless you do it, practice it. So, Ghrutasya nama guhyam yadasti jiva devanam. Jiva is jivi's tongue. Tongue is used to communicate. If you want to communicate with gods, that means if you want to rise to higher levels, spiritual levels, then you have to use cow, this clarified butter of cow in the say Havan or Yajna or Agnihotra. So Ghrutasya nama guhyam yadasti jiva devanam amrutasya nadhihi. You can reach the ultimate reality, that is Amrutatva. This is what the Vedas say. What we have done is, we call Vedas as the very holy material. Everybody in India or outside also know that there is something hidden in the Vedas which is really, really very important. But unless we study the Vedas point by point, and what we call as Panta Adhyayana, that is taking each word, going into deep and putting it before the people, then only we can have the real success of such seminars. Otherwise, people will come talk deep. The Vedas have to be studied in a different way. not the way so far they have been studied. Take a different approach. Think that there are three meanings of the Vedas. One is the worldly things, another is the spiritual level, and the third is divine. The point I would like to, when I began to write about Rigveda Darshan, I came to know about this. I came into, I studied in detail Usha Sukta. What is Usha Sukta? Where the Rishi is interested in describing what is happening in the morning, early morning, or whether they have wanted to describe or just what is that early morning is. No, it is divine dawn. You have to look to the Vedas from that angle. It is a divine dawn. That means the dawn before you get Atma-Jnana or self-realization. And many persons who have realized, who were realized souls, had described that what is their experience when they see this divine dawn, or they experience the divine dawn. We will have to look to the Vedas from a totally different angle, and not just trying to understand whether there is the history of the king, whether there is a history of a battle, whether there is anything else. This is the point I wanted to make. That is why I joined. Otherwise, at the age of 86, it is not possible for me to join any seminar.
Thank you, Professor Kulkarni ji. You gave a very, you have vast knowledge and vast experience of the Vedas. In fact, Vedic knowledge is a oceanic knowledge, and it requires a lot of tapasa and a lot of sadhana to understand Vedas.
That is what my guru said. Guru from Akkalkot told me that without penance, you cannot understand the real meaning of the Vedas.
In Shatpat Brahmana says, Mahat tapas tapati yo swadhyayam adhite. A person who studies Vedas, he does a great penance, a great tapaha. So I would like to comment on certain issues, what has already been raised by our learned speaker, Professor S.K. Kulkarni ji. He quoted Gopath Brahmana, and there are several interpretations of that aspect. At that place, Gopath Brahmana is not talking about giving these oblations. He is talking about doing yajnas. There is a discussion whether the yajna is to be performed once a day or thrice a day or 2 times the day. So the conclusion is the yajna is to be performed twice a day. So there is no such particular restrictions upon ahutis. You give 2 ahutis, you give 3 ahutis, you give 4 ahutis. So there is no such particular discussions.
No, there is a discussion, and the conclusion is that Atmo Titarebhya Prajaya Pashubhi Tasmat Dvir Hotavyam. That conclusion is there. In Shatapatha Brahmana also.
2 times. You must do Havan 2 times. That's it.
I understand your point. So there is no question about 16 or 2 ahutis.
With my interpretations, but I have also studied Vedas, Kulkarni ji.
I understand.
I read you just say one more thing. There are 2 types of literature. One is the Griha Sutras and another is the Shrota Sutras. Griha Sutras, they are whatever observations or whatever performances have been stated in Griha Sutras, they pertains to the domestic life of a human being. Griha, sanskar, there are 16 sanskaras. So all those performances, they pertain to the 16 lives, the 16 sanskaras, or whatever. There are some Griha Sutras describe more than 16 sanskaras also. So all those observances, they pertain to the life of a domestic life or sanskar of a human.
That is true. That is why it is Guru called Guru here.
And one more thing, the Shrota Sutra, Griha Yajnas, they are done in Gahrapatya fire. What is Gahrapatya fire? The family sanskar, the sanskar of a family, they are known as Gahrapatya fire, Gahrapatya Agni. And when the Shrota Yajnas are done, then the fire is taken from Gahrapatya. Havanya Kunda, they are done. So what is the Shrota Yajna? Shrota Yajna is not a performance, domestic performance or something to be done by human beings. They represent figuratively or in a very allegorical way, the different processes taking place in the universe. So far as the Shrota Yajnas are concerned, whatever, whether it is Soma Yaga, Vajpaya Yaga, or Ekahina Yaga, or there is a Dwadas Satra, 12 years Yaga, and even 1000 years Yaga is there.
Yeah.
So they are symbolizing particular phenomenon of the nature, just like Ekahina Yaga is that represents the Earth's rotation around its axis.
Exactly.
The yaga that pertains to 1 year, that represents the Earth revolution round the sun. The yaga that represents 12 years yaga, that represents Jupiter's revolution around the sun. And the yaga that represents 1000 years, that represents the whole Kalpa year, that is equal to 1000 Mahayugas. So they are representing all those things. And when Shatpat Brahmana describes Agnihotra, that is not this Agnihotra. This Agnihotra is also taking place in the universe itself. When the sun radiation coming on the earth, that is also the Agnihotra is taking place. And the Brahmankar there says, Etavati vai Vedi Yavati Prithvi, that the parameter of the Vedi is equal to the whole earth, because the sun fire, the sun radiations, the sun rays, they are coming on the earth and the life is flourishing on it. So that Shrota Sutras, they represent something allegorically cosmic phenomenon, and Griha Sutras, they are particularly representing the domestic observances that are to be performed by human being. So there is a confusion. We sometimes confuse the Shrota Sutras with the Griha Sutra performances. No doubt, the performances in Griha Sutras, they are very much aligned, in tune with the Shrota Sutras also. Shrota Sutras, but their purpose is different. And the Shrota Yaga,
purpose, sir.
Shrota Yaga there is the rain-making process of rain-making. But here, if you are doing Soma Yaga for the Grihastha life itself, that has no meaning for that. So Soma Yaga represents something else, and the Sanskaras of Griha Sutras or the Yagas in Griha Sutras, they are for the human life, for the elevation of the life of human being. So that is the basic difference. And in science also, the scientists have proved that the solar some energy bursts are taking place from the sun, and they take 2 times. That is why they are equating this sandhyas, 2 times sandhyas, because it is coinciding to that natural phenomenon. So this is how the very conclusion is that the everything, whatever stated in Vedas, is a very deep rooted one, and no one can, just like the Brahmankara says, Proksha Priya Iva Hi Devaha. Whatever the seers have told, they have told everything indirectly. You cannot derive some direct meaning from them. And if you are going to derive the direct meaning, that will be misleading one, and you will be misled by all such interpretations.
There is one point, sir. One point I want to make.
Yeah.
The Shatapatha Brahmana Grantha also says that Sayat Sayamastamite Dve Ahuti Juhoti Tadetabhyam Purvabhyam. It is there.
That Ahuti pertains to the Yajna itself, not these oblations.
That is how you interpret.
So that is the difference of interpretations between your interpretations and my interpretations.
And Parshuram, Lord Parshurama,
Ahuti means 2 times Ahuti.
The Sayat Sayamastamite Dve Ahuti Jyoti, when he offers 2 oblations, very clearly stated in Shatapatha Brahmana Grantha. And secondly, when Lord Parshurama met, there is a story, when Lord Parshurama met the other, that is Lord Krishna and Balarama, he says, Nesta Sankuchita Adhanam. I have made my, I am not performing Tretagni Vistar now, but I am performing a Yajna or Agnihotra of 2 oblations. That is why Lord Parshurama says. That is it. Okay.
Yeah, those contexts I may refer. Then I can comment.
Nasta Sankuchita Dhanam.
I have Shatpat Brahman with me. I may refer to that.
Yeah.
And in what context that has been stated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a very nice presentation, very significant presentation by all the speakers, and I think we are very much benefited by these deliberations and discussions.